Thunder Radio, where we groove as the spirit moves. Yeah. Drawing the honey from the rock with the righteous Reverend Doctor on Booming Thunder Radio.
Welcome back, mighty friends, to the Fourth Watch. I'm your host, Brother TC, coming at you live from just outside a hidden place where the glory cloud hovers upon the earth. A movement of cloud of pillars of smoke during the day and pillars of fire at night. Yea, and when the water rages in the sea, in the darkness, before dawn's early light, he dared to call out to Mashiach, that one pierced, that gave his whole life for the revelation of the mystery of Torah, the language hidden, he revealed only to the Zadaka, and understood by those that are humble and true in the faith, in the truth and the faith, a love of the truth, manifest a faith beyond imagination in this world, heavens upon this earth, all it takes for evil to conquer in this world is for good men to stand by and do nothing. To fear God, Mighty Yehovah, to fear him is to hate evil, and move by his everlasting glory, the anointing of his Son's Spirit, found in the Word, living and breathing in the Fourth Watch. Slowly each day, but as you honor him and his Father, humbling yourself with prayer, seeking first the kingdom each day, and then the righteousness of the Son, the manifestation of the living Word in your heart, upon your mind, honey dripping from your lips, a tongue as a flame of fire. We're in 2 Chronicles 33, and we're just going to go until the glory is seen in your heart this day. So Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king. Can you imagine a 12-year-old boy becoming the king? And he reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. 55 years. So when he stepped down from being the king, he was 67 years old. So he did evil in the sight of Manasseh, according to the abominations of the nations whom Manasseh disposed before the sons of Israel. For he rebuilt the high places which Hezekiah his father had broken down. He also erected altars for the Baals, and made Asherim, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served them. He built altars in the house of Manasseh, of which Manasseh had said, My name shall be in Jerusalem forever. For he built altars for all the host of heaven in the two courts of the house of Manasseh. Yeah, a lot like, our forefathers twisted, honoring the pantheon gods, and the same kind of thing has happened again. Do you see the glistening reflections from the raging emerald ocean as you step out of the boat, calling to Yahushua HaMashiach as he walks upon the raging water? He raises his hand, he calls to his father. His father hears him and honors his word, for his son honors his father's word. And the faithful come out of the boat and walk upon the water. They go out to meet him. Their hin of oil full, and their lamps blazing with fire. Manasseh made his sons pass through the fire in the valley of Ben Hinnom, and he practiced witchcraft, used divination, practiced sorcery, and dealt with mediums and spiritualists. He did much evil in the sight of Manasseh, provoking him, even to anger. So he twisted everything back the way it was before his father had made things right. Then Manasseh put the carved image of the idol which he had made in the house. He made an idol and he put it in the house of God, of which God said to David and to Solomon his son, In this house and in Jerusalem, which the eyes have chosen from all the tribes of Israel, the eyes will put Mighty Jehovah's name forever. And the eyes will not again remove the foot of Israel from the land, which the eyes have appointed for our fathers, if only they will observe to do all that the eyes have commanded them, according to all the law, the statutes, and the ordinances through Moshe. Thus Manasseh misled Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to do more evil than the nations whom Yahovah destroyed before the sons of Israel. Yahovah spoke to Manasseh and his people, but they paid no attention. Therefore Yahovah brought the commanders of the army of the king of Assyria against them, and they captured Manasseh with hooks, bound him with bronze, and took him to Babylon. When he was in distress, he entreated Yahovah his God, and humbled himself greatly before the God of his fathers. When he prayed to him, he was moved by his entreaty and heard his supplication, and brought him again to Jerusalem, to his kingdom. Then Manasseh knew that Yahovah is God. Now after this he built the outer wall of the city of David on the west side of Gihon, in the valley, even to the entrance of the fish gate. And he encircled the Ophel and made it very high. Then he put army commanders in all the fortified cities of Yehudah. He also removed the foreign gods and the idols from the house of Yahovah, as well as all the altars which he had built on the mountain of the house of Yahovah and in Jerusalem, and he threw all of it outside of the city. He set up the altar of Yahovah and sacrificed peace offerings and thank offerings on it, and he ordered Judah to serve Yahovah, the God of Israel. Nevertheless, the people still sacrificed in the high places, only to they still sacrificed in high places, but they only did it to Yahovah, their God. Now the rest of the acts of Manasseh, even his prayer to his God, and the words of the seers who spoke to him in the name of Yahovah, God of Israel, behold, they are among the records of the kings of Israel. His prayer also, and how God was entreated by him, and all his sin, his unfaithfulness, and the sites on which he built high places and erected the Asherim and the carved images before he humbled himself. Behold, they are written in the records of the Josiah. So Manasseh slept with his fathers, and they buried him in his own house. And Amon, his son, became king in his place. Amon becomes the king in Yehudah when he was 22 years old, when he became king, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. He did evil in the sight of Yahovah, as Manasseh his father had done. And Amon sacrificed to all the carved images which his father Manasseh had made, and he served them. Moreover, he did not humble himself before Yahovah, as his father Manasseh had done, but Amon multiplied guilt. Finally his servants conspired against him and put him to death in his own house. But the people of the land killed all the conspirators against King Ammon, and the people of the land made Josiah, his son, king in his place. You know, it sounds like these kings are pretty hard-headed. Something about getting that gold crown around your temple makes you... Well, I guess if you never knew Mighty Yehovah, yeah, you might do these things in your ignorance. But to know him and to do these things, yeah, I'm thinking that might be the case we have. And that's why little Josiah, he was 8 years old when he became king. Even younger, 8 years old. Can you imagine becoming the king of Israel when you're 8 years old? He reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. 39. He was taken out when he was 39. I know another man or two something like that happened to. He did right in the sight of Mighty Yehovah and walked in the ways of his father David and did not turn aside to the right or to the left. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was still a youth, he began to seek the God of his father David. And in the 12th year he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem of the high places, the Asherim, the carved images, and the molten images. They tore down the altars of the Baals in his presence, and the incense altars that were high above them he chopped down. Also the Asherim, the carved images, and the molten images he broke in pieces and ground to powder and scattered it on the graves of those who had sacrificed to them. Then he burned the bones of the priests on their altars and purged Judah and Jerusalem. In the cities of Manasseh, Ephraim, Simeon, even as far as Naphtali, in their surrounding ruins, he also tore down the altars and beat the Asherim and the carved images into powder and chopped down all the incense altars throughout the land of Israel. Then he returned to Jerusalem. Now in the 18th year of his reign, when he had purged the land and the house, he sent Shaphan the son of Azaliah and Masaliah, an official of the city, and Joah the son of Joaz, the recorder, to repair the house of Mighty Yehovah, his God. They came to Hilkiah, the high priest, and delivered the money that was brought into the house of God, which the Levites, the doorkeepers, had collected from Manasseh and Ephraim, and from all the remnant of Israel, and from all Judah and Benjamin, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Then they gave it into the hands of the workmen who had the oversight of the house of Jehovah, and the workmen who were working in the house of Jehovah used it to restore and repair the house. They in turn gave to the carpenters and to the builders to buy quarried stone and timber for couplings, and to make beams for the houses which the kings of Judah had let go to ruin. The men did the work faithfully, with foremen over them to supervise. Jehath and Obadiah, the Levites of the sons of Merari, Zechariah and Meshullam, of the sons of the Korites and the Levites, all who were skillful with musical instruments. Also over the burden bearers, and supervised all the workmen from job to job. And of the Levites were scribes and officials and gatekeepers. When they were bringing out the money which had been brought into the house of Jehovah, Hilkiah the priest found the book of the law of Jehovah, by Moshe. Hilkiah responded and said to Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of Jehovah. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan. Then Shaphan brought the book to the king and reported further word to the king, saying, Everything that was entrusted to your servants they are doing. They have also emptied out the money which was found in the house of Jehovah, and have delivered it into the hands of the supervisors and the workmen. Moreover, Shaphan the scribe told the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest gave me a book, and Shaphan read from it in the presence of the king. When the king heard the words of the law, he tore his clothes. Then the king commanded Hilkiah, Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, Abdon, the son of Micah, Shaphan the scribe, and Azariah, the king's servant, saying, Go, inquire of Jehovah for me and for those who are left in Israel and in Yehudah, concerning the words of the book which has been found. For great is the wrath of Jehovah, which is poured out on us, because our fathers have not observed the word of Jehovah, to do according to all that is written in this book. So Hilkiah and those whom the king had told went to Huldah, the prophetess, the wife of Shealiam, the son of Tokath, the son of Hashrah, the keeper of the wardrobe. Now she lived in Jerusalem in the second quarter, and they spoke to her regarding this. She said to them, Thus says mighty Jehovah, the God of Israel, tell the man who sent you to her. Thus says mighty Jehovah, behold, the eyes are bringing evil on this place and on its inhabitants. All the curses written in the book which they have read in the presence of the king of Judah, because they have forsaken, mighty Jehovah, and have burned incense to other gods, that they might provoke mighty Jehovah to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore mighty Jehovah's wrath will be poured out on this place, and it shall not be quenched. But to the king of Judah, who sent you to inquire of mighty Jehovah, thus you will say to him, thus says mighty Jehovah, God of Israel, the words which you have heard, because your heart was tender, and you humbled yourself before God, when you heard his words against this place, and against its inhabitants, and you humbled yourself before mighty Jehovah, tore your clothes and wept before mighty Jehovah. The eyes truly have heard you, declares mighty Jehovah. Behold, the eyes will gather you to your fathers, and you shall be gathered to your grave in peace. So your eyes will not see all the evil which the eyes will bring on this place and on its inhabitants. And they brought back word to the king. Then the king sent and gathered all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. The king went up to the house of mighty Jehovah, and all the men of Judah, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the priests, the Levites, and all the people, from the greatest to the least. And he read in their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant, which was found in the house of mighty Jehovah. Then the king stood in his place, and made a covenant before mighty Jehovah to walk after mighty Jehovah, and to keep his commandments, and his testimonies, and his statutes, with all his heart, and with all his soul, to perform, the words of the covenant written in this book. Moreover, he made all who were present in Jerusalem and Benjamin to stand with him. So the inhabitants of Jerusalem did according to the covenant of mighty Jehovah, the God of their fathers. Josiah removed all the abominations from all the lands belonging to the sons of Israel, and made all who were present in Israel to serve mighty Jehovah their God. Throughout his lifetime they did not turn from following mighty Jehovah, God of their fathers. Hallelujah. Thank you, mighty Father, for Josiah and the faithfulness of all the craftsmen and builders, to take the money and to build and repair and faithfully bring forth the house of prayer. In thankfulness, for the Mashiach to come in our sons' hearts at the Passover, when they come back from the door, that their fathers would raise the fifth cup, and tell the children Elijah did come, and the son would say, Yea, he stands before you this day, my father. The spirit of Elijah is in your son, and he has forgiven all the fathers for their wickedness. If he hears, the Father rejoice in their repented hearts and their humbled natures. So Josiah celebrated the Passover to Mighty Yehovah in Jerusalem, and they slaughtered the Passover on the 14th of the first month. He set the priests in their offices and encouraged them in the service of the house of Mighty Yehovah. Now remember, Mighty Yehovah never wanted these slaughtered animals. He wanted men's hearts humbled, like oxen. They would come learned, willingly giving themselves as an offering each day before the Father, that the everlasting glory of the Son would come in their hearts, and the Word would become living and active in their tongue, in the tabernacle of their minds. He also said to the Levites, who taught all Israel, who were holy to Mighty Yehovah, put the holy ark in the house which Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, built. It will be a burden on our shoulders no longer. Now serve Mighty Yehovah, our God, and his people Israel. Prepare by your fathers' households in your divisions, according to the writings of David, king of Israel, and according to the writing of his son Solomon. Moreover, stand in the holy place according to the sections of the fathers' households of your brethren, the lay people, and according to the Levites by division of their father's household. Now slaughter the Passover, sanctify yourselves, and prepare for your brethren to do according to the word of Mighty Yehovah by Moshe. Josiah contributed to the lay people, to all who were present, flocks of lambs and young goats, all for the Passover offerings, numbering 30,000 plus 3,000 bulls. These were from the king's possessions. Quite a Passover feast, would it not be, mighty friend? That we would remember when we came out of Mystery Babylon. When we came out of Egypt. Imagine a world where Egypt willingly gives Israel all the land the Father, gave them in the Word. That whole heart-shaped piece of land between those two streams of water. And Assyria and Israel and Egypt could be in harmony in that whole land, and calling it Israel as the Bible, a 3-bound cord is not soon broken. His officers also contributed a freewill offering to the people, the priests and the Levites. Hilkiah and Zechariah and Jehiel, the officials of the house of God, gave to the priests for the Passover offerings 2,600 and 300 bulls. 2,600, y'all. You gotta really like that, right? Well, you gotta be from, before 1984 to really dig that, I think. Conaniah also, and Shemaiah, and Nathaniel, his brothers, and Hashbaiah, and Jeiel, and Jozabad, the officers of the Levites, contributed to the Levites for the Passover offerings 5,000 and 500 bulls. So the service was prepared, and the priests stood at their stations, and the Levites by their divisions according to the king's command. They slaughtered the Passover, and while the priest sprinkled the blood from their hand, the Levites skinned. Now there's a whole lot more to these words. 2 Chronicles 35 and 11. Now, if you are truly in the kingdom of priests upon the earth, you'll dig out your e-sword and your word study every tender morsel in that verse, and discern the words that were added into it, and discern the meaning that was given for you to understand, and then remove their words and understand the meaning of the true meaning of the Hebrew, not the English translation of it, but what it really means, and put together the mystery with a prayer to the Mashiach, Yehoshua HaMashiach, Yahshua, the Spirit, the living God within Moshe's heart, David, all the mighty men of old, yearning to be perfected in these moments in the fourth watch. So they roasted the Passover on the fire according to the ordinance, and they boiled the holy things in pots, in kettles, in pans, and carried speedily to all the lay people. Afterwards they prepared for themselves and for the priests, because the priests, the sons of Aaron, were offering the burnt offerings and the fat until night. Therefore the Levites prepared for themselves and for the priests, the sons of Aaron. The singers, the sons of Asaph, also at their stations according to the command of David, Asaph, Haman, and Jeduthun, the king's seer, and the gatekeepers at each gate did not have to depart from their service, because the Levites, their brethren, prepared for them. So all the service of Mighty Jehovah was prepared on that day to celebrate the Passover and to offer burnt offerings on the altar of Mighty Jehovah according to the command of King Josiah. Thus the sons of Israel who were present celebrated the Passover at that time and the feast of unleavened bread 7 days. There had not been celebrated a Passover like it in Israel since the days of Samuel the prophet, nor had any of the kings of Israel celebrated such a Passover as Josiah. As Josiah did with the priests, the Levites, all Yehudah and Israel who were present, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. In the 18th year of Josiah's reign, this Passover was celebrated. Hallelujah, Hoshua HaMashiach. After all this, when Josiah had set the temple in order, Necho, king of Egypt, came up to make war at Carchemish on the Euphrates, and Josiah went out to engage him. But Necho sent messengers to him, saying, "What have we to do with each other, O king of Yehudah? Necho is not coming against you today, but against the house with which we are at war. And God has ordered us to hurry. Stop for your own sake from God who is with Necho, so that he will not destroy you." However, Josiah would not turn away from him, but disguised himself in order to make war with him. Nor did he listen to the words of Necho from the mouth of God, but came to make war on the plain of Megiddo. The archers shot King Josiah, and the king said to his servants, "Take me away, for I am badly wounded." So the servants took him out of his chariot and carried him to the second chariot, which he had also brought him to Jerusalem, where he died and was buried in the tombs of his fathers. All Yehudah and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah. Then Jeremiah chanted a lament for Josiah, and all the male and female singers speak about Josiah in their lamentations to this day. And they made them an ordinance in Israel. Behold, they are also written in the Lamentations. Now the rest of the acts of Josiah and his deeds of devotion, as written in the law of Manasseh, and his acts first to last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Yehuda. Now, the king of Egypt and the king of Israel, Josiah, the king of Israel, wanted to make war with the king of Egypt, who was doing the Father's will and work. We don't know why the king of Israel went out to make war on the plain of Megiddo. Perhaps 2 Chronicles 18:29 will have some insight for us. The king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and go into battle, but you put on your robes. So the king of Israel disguised himself, and they went into battle. Now the king of Aram had commanded the captains of his chariots, saying, Do not fight with small or great, but with the king of Israel alone. So when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, they said, It is the king of Israel, and they turned aside to fight against him. But Jehoshaphat cried out, and the Lord helped him, and God diverted them from him. When the captains of the chariots saw that it was not the king of Israel, they turned back from pursuing him. A certain man drew his bow at random and struck the king of Israel in a joint of the armor. So he said to the driver of the chariot, Turn around and take me out of the fight, for I am severely wounded. The battle raged that day, and the king of Israel propped himself up in his chariot in front of the Arameans until the evening, and at sunset he died. Oh, King Ahab, so the king of Israel, and Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, went up against Ramoth Gilead. Interesting. A lot of parallels there, brothers. I look forward to hearing what a righteous man's heart, filled with the everlasting glory of the Son, seeking the living word to pierce their veil, that their heart and the thrusting within their mind would be holy and pure, the love of the word, and the rejoicing, laughter, and praises of the children before their grandfathers, and the greatest of grandfathers, even their own fathers and sons' hearts. Yea, may each one find themselves with loving kindness, long-suffering, yea, forgiveness and mercy. For all we have inherited when the Word living and breathing has been before us, that reveals the way of truth, not the way of religion that carves men to extract their spiritual essence, keeping them carnal, drawing their little mercury head dimes as they go along. I hope your 2 dimes, are in your right hand watch pocket. And when your mercury, when your temperature, when your freezing cold or you're burning on fire, you can take those 2 mercury head dimes from your right watch pocket between your index finger and your thumb slipped inside, bringing them out. Yea, with the yes or the no question to everlasting, in faith as you place them, eyes closed in prayer upon your left hand, and spread them out. And you get a double no, a double yes, or just a no. Yea. There are 3 kinds of ways it can happen, like there are 3 kinds of people. The wise, the foolish, and those that cry out, the bridegroom is about to appear. Make yourselves ready. Yea, reveal the Sabbath day. Yea, with the blessing upon the children, the wives. Yea, and the word revealed. Yea, the Torah portion. Yea, and the rejoicing of the Torah portion when each one comes forth in the family is a special day. Yea, I hope it'll be treasured in your household at the reading of, yea, the word everlasting in a man's heart and in a man's tabernacle.